I was going to show that.
I didn't bring over the stuff. Let me have them bring it over.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna do the Cole County Emergency Response Team first. So, okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order. It's Tuesday, February 18th, 2020. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Born and unborn.
Okay, minutes and reports received and filed.
Yes, January 2020 flag reviews filed.
Okay, Commissioner Committee liaison reports, upcoming meetings and events.
Got MAC Board of Directors meeting tomorrow, Campbell Board of Directors, and Advisory Board meeting tomorrow. Home Builders Association home shows this weekend at Capitol Mall, Friday and Saturday. Breakfast Rotary Club's got a midwinter barbecue. Is that Friday? Friday at the Knights Clubs. And then Blair Oaks FFA has a dinner Saturday out at Wardsville. And got an important radio show this weekend with Mark, so we'll see you Sunday. I think that's it.
Hope you can talk better.
Yeah, might be better if I can.
So I have a salute board meeting tomorrow at 11:30. There's a Missouri River Region Library is having some type of a gathering tomorrow at 2. And then we had a Port Authority meeting this morning. Some dates here, February 25th, there's a IRPT, Inland River something. Inland Rivers Ports and Terminals conference for the whole state here, February 25th. Doubletree, there's a reception at 5:30. Actually, the reception starts at 7, sorry. But there'll be all people from all over the state here for that. So anyway, if you guys want to attend, we did, the Heartland Port did sponsor that, so just let me know.
Okay, I don't have much till Friday. We got Cap Region board meeting and then board retreat. And Saturday morning's board retreat. And I'll tell you, our chairman we got, it drags on and on and on. Oh, sorry, Mark. And then a little theater, we're going to see Rob. That's all I got. So, okay, presentation from staff, consultants, invited guests. Before I do, Mark, we're going to jump out and go with our Cole County Emergency Response Team. Bill, would you like to introduce our?
I will. About a year or so ago, Mike Rackert, who's been the chief of the hazmat team since early 2000s, I guess, decided to kind of step down and made it more official here recently. So the group has elected to bring Neil Warman in as the chief of the operations, Barry Geip and Sean York as the assistant chiefs. These guys have really kept this thing running for the last year and a half, almost 2 years. I think it was customary, from what I understand, back when Bob Jones, Pee Wee, and those were commissioners, that they literally appointed the officers. So I'd like to do that today with the commission before my last day next week, and make sure these guys, and they have done an excellent job. As you know, we cover Region F, the 13 counties, but anywhere in the state that they might need that. Luckily, we've not had to do that. But Neil's retired from Jeff City Fire. Barry and Sean both in the fire service as well. They do an excellent job. And so you have about 25 volunteers, the commission does, that puts in a lot of hours for you. That's kind of behind the lines that you don't really see, but if there's a big emergency, they're trained and they're ready to go. We do a lot of stuff with Lake Ozarks. These guys spend their weekends going down there helping them with big, large events with the Mobile Command Center, and they just do a lot of work. So I'd just like the commission to make that official if they're appointed. If anything changes, that will be brought before the commission. Any questions?
No, I'm fine. I saw them that day at the Capitol when you had that hazmat drill.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I think that's great.
They put in a lot of hours.
I think it's a good team. I don't know about Barry,
Yeah.
Everybody wonders about Barry.
but.
Yeah,
No comment.
that's for sure. But I'd just like to make that official that the commission does approve them. If someone make a motion, I just think it's kind of normal. That's the way it was done many years ago, so they basically work for you and everybody else, so,
Volunteer for us.
yes.
Yeah,
Volunteer,
appreciate it,
a lot
guys.
of work.
I do
Stepping
too.
up, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
I move that we approve the appointments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks
Gentlemen,
very much.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
guys.
Now we have our
Thanks, Bill.
illustrious.
You guys don't have to stay if you don't want to.
I got Lisa's here, she drove forward.
Do you want a picture of him up here? Oh, done lost him.
Okay, we have our illustrious chairman of the Cole County Bicentennial Committee, Mark Ellinger, to give us a bicentennial update.
Okay,
Morning.
maybe I just jump in.
We can. You want to talk about
I'll
the
cover
art
that.
center?
That's on my list of things to cover.
Go ahead.
Okay, so wanted to touch base on, give you guys an update of where we're at. I think we've been trying to do this about monthly to kind of come in, particularly now that we're in 2020, which is the year of the bicentennial. Sam's been involved with the joint Cole, Boone, Callaway bicentennial celebration, so I'm not going to touch on that, and I'll leave that entirely in your bailiwick. But I will talk about what we're doing for Cole County. As you all may recall, we have a kickoff that is now established formally. It's going to be June 5th at 11 a.m. at the Marion River Access. As you know, Marion was the site of the original Cole County Courthouse. We thought we would kick off our bicentennial at the site where the county kind of kicked off, which is in Marion. It'll be open to the public, but it'll be basically a kickoff, and then we'll go into Bob Pretty giving a little history of Cole County. There'll probably be punch and cookies and things like that available. And then we'll take the show on the road. We're going to hit every community in the course of the summer and early fall. We've decided to use the parish picnics and events of that type, including the Salute to Jeff City, as a way to get information out and to be able to celebrate in each of the various communities across the county. So that's June 5th. Sam has been, I let Sam have the lead on the bourbon thing. Sam's been working with a local distillery who's going to do a Cole County bourbon. And the kickoff celebration for Cole County bourbon will be on June 6th. I think that's going to be at Prison Brews Sidebar. There's the label. Basically there'll be two different levels of bourbon. There'll be the standard level bourbon, and then there'll also be 200 limited edition bottles.
That
So
we're
if you-
going to sign.
if you want a limited edition bottle, you'll have to let everybody know because I think they'll go quick. The regular bottles are, I think, $30, and the limited edition bottles are $50. In the course of putting all this together, we've also got an RFP out on the street. Thank you very much to Jessica for helping us with that. Thank you. That's for Cole County Bicentennial coins. As you may recall, I passed those out previously. I didn't bring extra copies today, sorry. We have the bicentennial coins that were done sesquicentennial coins that were done in 1970. We've decided to do bicentennial coins for the bicentennial. That's going to be a relatively popular item, at least it was historically. I assume it will be going forward. We're gonna get pricing on that, and I think that's next week that bid comes due. Next week that bid comes due. The goal is to have the initial set run of coins available by the kickoff in June, if not before. We're also going to do bookmarks that will be handed out to every school kid, regardless of their age, from kindergarten all the way up, across all the public parochial schools across Cole County. They'll have a little history of Cole County on the back, compliments of Sam, our local historian. You keep getting mentioned in all this stuff. It'll also have the dates of the events that are going on with respect to the bicentennial, and then it also have some of the logo material on it too. There's also the commemorative rifle, which is done through Historical Armory, Inc. If you go to their website, you can drop down, look at counties, and you can see the Historical Armory Cole County Limited Edition. There are 200 of them being made. They are either Henry Golden Boys, or I guess what they call them, standard black Henrys. But they're beautiful guns. They're engraved, and they have all of the communities in the county engraved on them, along with the logo, along with the dates of bicentennial, and you can get them customized too. I think they can be relatively, I mean, there's 600, I think it's $694 for a blackout, and it's $928 for a Golden Boy. So if you're interested in that, that's at the Historical Armory website. I think it's historicalarmory.com, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
Okay. Also, in conjunction with the Tri-County Bicentennial, we did a program where we invited fourth graders. Last year they were third graders, now they're fourth graders, across all of Cole County. We notified all the schools to come up with a presentation that would talk about Cole County bicentennial, and our logo or our theme was, see it right there, looking back, looking forward, because we wanted to encompass both the last 200 years and where we're going in the future. We received a number of submissions. The committee met last week. We spent a lot of time evaluating all the submissions. We had some debate about the submissions, and we came to the conclusion that there were two that were the two winners. One of which Sam has up on the board, which was done as a PowerPoint presentation. The other of which is right here on the table, which I guess I can unfold and lay it on the table, Sam.
Yeah. This is South School, and really there were some good. It was hard, but.
So, I turned it the wrong way. Sorry, guys.
That's fine, I'll get the idea.
Didn't realize it when I opened it up. It was going to go that direction. So this is the South School. This is I believe, this is Megan Dudenhafer's fourth grade class at South School did this presentation. I'd encourage everybody to look at it. And then Cole R1 did this presentation. And I don't know, Sam, are you going to flip through it? Or
Yeah, I'm going to have, I had Debbie go ahead and, we gave them, you know, we said you can do, we didn't limit them. You know, we said you can do a play, you can do PowerPoint, you can do videos, and this is what Cole R1 at Russellville came up with.
So this is the PowerPoint that they came up with. We thought this was one of the two best presentations. So if you want to, I don't know how you want to flip through it, Sam.
Just go through. I think you know, read the. They all wanna be football players.
They got varsity team this year, right? Coming up,
Coming up.
2020.
That's it.
So you can see it was a presentation from their fourth grade class covered looking back, looking forward. Thought that was really great. This one, I can leave this out as Sam. So.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I think we're gonna try to figure out a way to have these two particularly featured here inside the annex, and perhaps the other ones that were submitted to, we can figure out a way to
Yeah.
have those accessible too. I think that covers, in somewhat abbreviatory fashion, the various items. There was a couple of business items we needed to address very
Yeah.
quickly. So the Cole County Bicentennial is a 501c4 social welfare organization. It's a not-for-profit corporation here in Missouri. We created it recently, basically in the interest of making sure there was a structure that was available. As I know that the commission has appropriated money, we do need to have a cooperative agreement. I worked with Jill to get a cooperative agreement. I can give you guys a copy of that. It's short and sweet. And I also have an invoice that, once the agreement's approved, can be submitted for payment. I'll give that to Sam. I'd give it to you. Let Sam have it. And basically, it's, our goal is to use the funds that you all have appropriated to promote the bicentennial, to get the education improvements out, let people know what's going on, the coins, the events that are going to occur, all the way up through the actual official date, which is, I think, November 16th.
16th, yeah.
And shortly thereafter, with respect to the Tri-County Bicentennial, we'll do a handoff to the state, because next year's the state's bicentennial. And then our anticipation with respect to these funds are any funds that are left over, we'd like to keep a balance in the account going forward. The purpose of that would be we'd move it into an interest-bearing account, and it would be available for the 250th celebration. Maybe then they won't have to come back to the commission. But we wouldn't want to put all the money that's left over into that. We just want to keep a small sum in there so that the next go around 50 years from now, when we're all gone, they can, well, you guys are younger, you guys will still be around. They'll have a seed money to get started on this. So with that, any questions?
No, thank you guys for running with that, though. Y'all done some pretty cool stuff with it. The gun, the coin, and
And this, we
Urban.
will be taking the classes to the Capitol April 16th?
April 16th, there'll be a kickoff at the Capitol.
The three counties, yeah.
Conjunction with the First Lady.
Mhm.
So I think it'll be a nice event for the school kids to come. We get an opportunity to recognize them for the work they've done on this, and also kind of kick off our celebration for the Tri-County Bicentennial.
So I assume the bulk of the funds will be used for the monuments.
They'll be used for initially to do the coin, some of these
Some of
startup.
the startup outlay,
Yep,
initial.
and then
outlay.
the bookmarks, the coins, and then coming back, monuments where we decide we want to put them at the end. I think some of that's to be determined where they would go, where the monuments would go. We'd like probably to put a monument in Marion to commemorate where the first courthouse was. Right now, I think there's a sign stuck in the ground.
Yeah. Rodney Garnett he knows everything there is to know about Marion, and he's on our committee. Yeah.
And I understand with respect to the landscaping here, there's money for some type of monument that would match up to it.
Yeah.
The goal is to try through the course of fundraising, and using the $25,000 and start as seed money, but also for the permanent structures, is to be able to fund most of that without coming back for any additional funding from the commission, aside from what's been appropriated, as I understand, through the landscaping concept. And that's something I don't know a lot about.
Chris is in.
Well, I think there was money appropriated through the site improvements project to purchase a monument for out here, as I remember. I'd have to look, but anyway. Most of the things that you had talked about should be money makers versus,
They are.
I mean, the coins, the bourbon, I mean, the rifle doesn't,
Doesn't make
that's an individual
But we were
thing, so.
raffling off,
The
200
proof.
chances, for the proof rifle, which has been donated. But yes, you're correct. I mean, the goal is to try to raise as much money as we can to put permanent markers, something permanent around the county so people remember the bicentennial.
Okay.
And not have to come back to the commission for funding to do that, beyond what y'all have already done.
Yeah, we met Friday over at the trailhead. It was colder than, but anyway, but I think we're gonna have to do some concrete work and stuff around it, so it's actually, you know, gonna be a little bit more expensive than what we thought it was gonna be too.
I know a guy that can probably do that for you.
Oh, okay.
So anybody wants to volunteer, I'm happy to take.
Yeah,
You good, Jeff?
Yeah,
I move that we approve and sign the agreement.
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I don't know if I should abstain or just,
You're- Shouldn't abstain.
yeah.
For what?
Well, since I'm
He's on the.
on a committee
he's
and
on
I'm the,
He's on the committee as part of the commission.
Right, but he's an officer.
yes.
It's
Whatever
kinda
you
like,
wanna do.
it's always safer.
Just to
abstain.
be, yeah,
I remember doing that a few times.
So how does that work?
Well, you and Jeff both. and
Oh, so he's-
signs. But Lynn gets to appoint the
I get that,
acting
but,
presiding.
Tiebreaker.
We got 2 yeses, it don't matter.
well, I realize that, but I mean, if he's on another entity that we're approving money to, isn't that a conflict?
He didn't vote on it, so.
It doesn't matter, I don't think.
He abstain, I mean, my opinion is by abstaining and not voting on it, and it's a non-paid position, I don't think there's any endurement issues there. I think the abstention is a safety abstention. That
Okay.
would be my opinion. I would defer to your county counselor.
I agree with Mark.
Hey, Mark.
said.
She would have to recuse herself.
And Mark, here's a bill.
You have the invoice.
So there's an invoice.
We have to be
I can
invoiced so that
sign.
we can pay.
Yeah,
And here's a
Alright.
signed one. Did you have a executed guy? I don't know who's gonna countersign. I know that's to Kristen too.
Go for it, I got laryngitis.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else for me?
Nope.
Oh, thank you guys.
thank you, Mark.
I'll try to come back next month and we'll,
Yeah,
as we get it a month closer, we'll do it again. Next month, we'll be very close, obviously, to the,
we might
event
have,
over at the Capitol.
might have coins too by then.
Maybe proof coins.
Yeah,
Okay.
You don't get that thing mounted and framed?
I don't know,
That's
it's
the hard part.
pretty neat.
Well, yeah, but.
I don't know what it
just
would
joking.
cost, I don't know what it would cost to mount it and frame
Like
it.
$2,000 probably.
Yeah,
Just hanging in the hallway.
yeah, I think,
I know a guy.
Make it out of hardwood and plexiglass.
yeah. Okay,
It is pretty neat.
okay. Let me put away all my where
So
is.
you can have that one. Okay. Send you a picture. Yeah, you might be.
Bids and contracts,
Thanks.
signing of the FTEP sole source.
The sole source was approved to run in the paper at the end of January, so this is just signing of it.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
I move that we sign the sole source advertisement for the FTP grant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Bid awards, 2020-7 pipes.
We have the 2020-07 pipes award. We had a couple bidders on it. and we're recommending to bid it to the lowest and best bid in each category with available materials. That's all of them.
My computer's all jacked up. You got a copy of that, or?
Go make one.
Yeah, there's only one bid on
Do
it.
you have it?
That's
I-
culverts.
I can't open any of these up.
I think it's put those,
Yeah, okay.
just give them.
That's all of them. All that's
Okay.
on for today. Do you need a copy, Joe?
No. My computer's playing nice today.
Why we only get one bid on that?
You got one bid in there for the metal pipe, and then you've got two bids that's on the backside of that for the plastic pipe. One of those is that ABS pipe, which we use a lot of, which is that corn main.
Yeah,
And again, we did not get a price, or bid again on the concrete pipe, as much as I chased them down to get a bid, we still didn't get it. But the actual metal pipe, the one with metal culverts.
okay. I mean, is there other people that make this stuff?
There are,
They won't send you a price list?
I really don't know why they don't bid on, I guess they
Well, what, I
don't
mean,
feel they can be competitive or something, that they just don't keep a bid in here, I don't know.
is there a state contract on any of this?
That one I'm not sure of, if they actually do have one or not.
So how are we awarding this? To lowest and best with available materials?
Yeah.
So if they don't have it, you're gonna go find somebody else that does?
As far as metal pipe goes, I've never seen metal covers not out. They've always been on furnace material, whatever we needed, they've always got the furnace. And ADS is the same way, that's the plastic pipe that's been in there, that's the, it's actually the cord main, but that's actually the pipe that they sell, and we never had a problem with them ever being on it. Anytime we needed pipe, they've always got it, so.
Is it plastic pipe? Is it a, is it PVC? Is it NDS? Is it, what is it?
It's a black plastic pipe with a double wall. It's got a smooth interior.
Smooth interior? And Core and Main, I'm not familiar with them. Are they,
That was,
the water and
HD
sewer?
water supply out of Columbia.
Oh, it's HD water supply. And water and sewer didn't want to submit a price, or? This is crazy. All right, you guys want to award this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I-
Yeah.
All right, I move that we award pipes to lowest and best with available materials.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2020-06 leased equipment.
For 2020-06, we had 3 people submit their bids. And we're recommending to award it to the lowest and best in each category with the available equipment.
questions on it, really.
So, what rubber tire loader are we currently renting?
The one we currently have is the one from Bobcat, which is that Doosan DL 250.
So that went up $1,500 a month?
1,500 weekly, 45.
Yeah, but we were paying $3,000 a month?
We were, yes. It keeps creeping up little by little.
So I'm gonna be difficult. I move that we reject the bids. Just because we need to get more prices. There's other places out there that can rent this stuff. And so, anyway, I mean, there's so many no bids out here that there's Equipment Share, there's other places out there that rent this bigger stuff. And we just need to get a price from them, whether it's a formal bid or not. So hydraulic excavators, I mean, we either need to buy some of this stuff or we need to get some other bids, because, I mean, there was no bid on the majority of these things except for the standard stuff, so.
I think we still have to bid it. We still have to go and bid it in the public, you know, so whether we contact these vendors to bid on it or not, we can still do that again.
So we got a motion on the floor, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll second for discussion. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry,
Nope, you're fine.
yeah.
So what were you saying?
I still think we have to officially bid it, because we're talking quite a bit of money here within that 90-day period, and it has to be officially bid.
Right.
We can solicit vendors to try to get them to bid, you know, in our process. But to just go out and get phone bids, I don't think that's not gonna work.
I think we've run into this like every year. And
Yeah, but it's got to be a little more each year. Like usually we've always gotten the price for paving, but I know that circumstances are that I'm guessing that's why they probably haven't been turning bid in this year. Otherwise, these are our usual forward that have always been on our stuff.
so if the price is creeping up like that, we need to revisit leasing versus purchasing.
Yeah, that's,
It's kind of like everything, everything just keeps going up.
Well, I mean, so, what about Martin Equipment out of Ashland?
They should be on our list.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying that we can't do business with Bobcat of Columbia, but what I am saying is we need to ask for bids, and if we have to formally turn it in for them, I don't care if they just send us a price list, turn it in for them as an official bid. I mean, $1,500 a month, that's a lot, and we've been hanging on to that thing, what, at least 6 to 8 months.
Always, yeah. What we're trying to do when we're trying to.
Yep.
Until we get it solved, I think.
There's nothing saying the other bids are gonna be lower, so,
No, it's not safe to be low.
I mean,
I can
I'm
run it in
not-
the paper again and reach out to people.
But these have been read publicly, open publicly, so they all know what the other ones are already bidding.
True.
So it's kind of,
But everybody knows what everybody's rates is. I mean, I can make 5 phone calls today and find out what their rates are, and it probably ain't gonna change a whole lot. I mean, their rates are the rates. So,
well,
anyway.
they could do the same thing. I mean, they know what the bid's gonna be. They can call to ABC and say, hey, what's your rates? And they got a general idea. You know, they may sharpen their pencil and try to reduce it a little bit and provide a bid, but I'm not gonna go out there and write their bid for them and submit it.
We
So-
can't do that. They'll have to submit it as a sealed, and then we'd have to do the bid opening. They can't turn it into me and,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
just
mean,
have it in
that's-
my emails. I
That's
can't
what they have
that.
salesmen for, and if it's a good salesman, he's gonna be trying to figure out who rents stuff, or who do you have chance of getting stuff from, so. I don't think I'm for rejecting these. I want to move forward with these, keep this moving, but for next year, I think we may need to reach out to some people and try to get some better prices possibly. I don't know if it'd help or not. I'm just curious why they don't submit some kind of bid. Are we?
Yeah, you and I we're all in business. If somebody, chances are I'm gonna bid on.
Well, so
Tuxedos.
in my experience in dealing with pipes or equipment or whatever, I mean, there's probably not that much in it for them to rent the stuff versus selling it. I mean, if we were buying it, I'm sure you'd get all kinds of bids for rubber tired loader or whatever, so, but in the equipment business or the rental business, it's probably not as lucrative, but, I mean, I know, you know, I think Purple Wave rents some stuff, or maybe they just sell stuff, I don't know. But I know Equipment Share rents stuff, and, I mean, I've just used those companies, and so it's, you know, you gotta bug them to get the prices. So, anyway, discussion over.
But if we call them, I mean, that's not the same as us getting a bid. So,
Well, but so if I call you tomorrow and you don't send me your list of equipment prices, which is typically published on most websites, or like through Bobcat of Columbia, I can go on their website and I can get a list of all their equipment rental prices probably right now. And so I may have to call you several times to get you to send that to me in a formal deal, or
yeah, I don't know, but we can try to solicit some bids, more bids next year, but I just don't think it's gonna change anything. So,
Yeah,
move on this year, and then next year maybe look at it again, and
so when we rent this stuff, do we go get it?
Most of the time, yes.
Where's United Rentals in Jefferson City?
I really don't know. I don't know if we've ever rented anything from them.
That's a new bid, it wasn't on last year's.
But they don't have a location in Jefferson City.
That's what was on the bid.
I know they're in Columbia, but I'm not sure where they've got a location here yet. I couldn't tell you here yet.
So I'd say the three things that we probably rent the most are a skid steer, a rubber tire loader, and maybe an excavator. That'd be accurate?
Yes.
Mini excavator or an excavator?
That would be the main, I mean, most of the time, but yeah, a road tire loader, and we might rent a skid steer once in a while, and, or one of the bigger excavators. Other than that, that's our normal. And sometimes we do rent, portable air compressors.
So the problem for me would be is if I gotta go to Columbia, I mean, I only got one I got two in Columbia. So if I gotta go pick them up, I got 3 or 4 hours of time and going and getting it and bringing it back. And then same way the other way. So you gotta figure out what your time's worth in going and getting this stuff and then taking it back.
yeah, that's what you wanna consider when you're looking at buying
Yeah.
it, then.
okay, we got
Says
a,
it's through Orsley Farm and Home, but it doesn't have an address in Jefferson City. Got one in Columbia and one in Rolla. So, I'm not sure where it's at in here, in Jeff.
What's the threshold on that? Is it $5,000 in 90 days?
It's 6,000.
6,000 in 90 days? If you're under that, you can get phone bids.
That as long as it's not, like if you rent a piece of equipment and you spend $4,500 this month, then, you can't rent it the next month because you'll be over your 6,000, and that has to be a formal bid.
Right.
Yeah, it's a rolling, yeah, and it's countywide. Not that probably anybody else buys from that vendor, but you guys, but.
Okay.
okay.
So
We got a
motion was
motion.
to reject the bid.
Motion to reject the bid, second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
It really wasn't second.
Huh? He seconded.
He doesn't have to vote on it even though.
Oh.
he-
Oh.
We'll have to discuss, he
Okay.
might change his mind.
All opposed? say
Aye.
God damn. Excuse my language.
Yeah, good luck, Lynn.
Okay.
Told you I was just being difficult.
I know. Okay.
Gotta give Larry some more gray hairs before he leaves.
So,
I got plenty of that already.
so then we need a motion to approve 2020-06 leased equipment.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 2020-05 vegetation spray materials.
We had one bid on the 2020-05, and it was Nutrin Ag Solutions. We're recommending to go with them.
We've had real good luck with their sprays. We've burned down a lot of it around their guardrails and stuff, and we do one application, and that pretty well holds us for the year.
Their bare ground premix is very good.
All right, I move that we award vegetative spray materials to Nutrient Ag Solutions.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
2020-04 mosquito spray materials.
For 2020-04, we received 2 bids in, and we're recommending to award it to the lowest and best bid in each category with the available materials.
So which material are you gonna buy?
We actually have not purchased any of this in the last 2 years. We put a bid out
Okay.
for the sole purpose of the fact that if we have a epidemic or something comes up that we need to spray mosquitoes, and as of right now, we're still sitting on 50-some gallons, I think, of spray. We don't spray unless we absolutely have to anymore. We usually, Clark, a lot of times we do that Biomist 3.5. They tell us they want us to move around from one product to the other one.
Right.
And sometimes that, like Biomist 412 that's on there, that one of them's got 17 on it and the other one had $70, which seems like a whole lot, but the per acre price on them sometimes is different. So you really gotta research out which one is actually the best before
Okay.
you actually purchase it.
So it
Again,
become,
we don't spray or don't fog unless, we work with the health department and they do testing and stuff, or if there's a known virus that has appeared, and they're notified by state, CDC, that at the point, we go out and fog it. Normally, all we do is go out and put out the briquettes, the drains and stuff, just where we have standing water and subdivisions and stuff like that.
all right, I move that we award mosquito spray materials to the lowest and best with availability.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
2020-03 blades.
For 2020-03, we received multiple bids in, and we are recommending again to award it to the lowest and best bid in each category with the available materials.
So I just had one question with Fabic Cat closing up. Are they gonna honor their prices? Just be out of Columbia?
Just be out of Columbia.
So I hear they're gonna have a drop point here in Jeff City yet. So,
We're working with them, we're gonna put a drop box out at our shop, where not only that we can use it, but other contractors, local contractors can. It'll still be,
okay.
locally available.
You can see a couple of these on there actually are, they're only guaranteeing their price for 3 months.
Just waiting on Sam.
So if they're the lowest, but they only guarantee it for 3 months, you call them back and,
We usually, what we do is we call, whoever's got the lowest price on it, and sometimes they will honor that price, and sometimes they will not. semi-low, they won't honor that price, and at that time, we usually order from.
And then you go to the next one? Okay.
Good, moving on, Dottie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I move that we award grader and snow blades to the lowest and best with availability.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Note that Sam was absent for the vote, please. All right.
Last one.
All right, road materials.
We have 2020-02 road materials. We got multiple bids on this one, and again, we're recommending the lowest and best bid near the work site with available materials.
Okay,
Yeah,
any questions?
good.
All right, I move that we award lowest and best, closest to the work site with available materials.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Oh, Sam was absent again, please.
Do you want to keep those, Chris?
You can have them. Thank you. Okay, we got a little bit of a security issue going on, so I think that's why Sam stepped out. Signing of FY18 LEPTA equipment grant award for rapid IDs. That's John's, okay,
That and the next two.
okay. All right, we're gonna skip over those. Accounts payable review,
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable pending review.
so moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Again, Sam's absent. Second and final reading of budget adjustment number 2.
This is for $15,000. It's EMS money that was received, and they're putting it back into their budget under training. And I think it, forgot what it's for. That reimbursement for that training course, Digitech. So I do need action today, put that
Okay.
back in the budget.
Questions? I move that we sign court order number 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Environmental fee structure discussion.
Sorry, guys.
So it has been some time since the environmental fees were reviewed and increased. We did a
Copy for
review
Sam,
of our ordinance and we looked at the fees from other surrounding counties. So, you give them the top page, the food, do you have the sewage? Okay. So do you wanna talk about sewage first or you wanna talk about food?
Oh, let's talk about food before we talk about sewage.
All right, we'll do it in the right order. So, right now, our current permit fee is $25. And we charge that whether it's a high-risk, medium, or low-risk facility, or a temporary food establishment, right? Or is it pretty safe, 25, yeah. So you can see right there, Brandon did quite a bit of research, and you can see the fees from the surrounding counties. And Cape Girardeau and Franklin are and Pettus are kind of like-sized counties. And then on the back page are the list of the establishments we have now. So I'll let you look at that, and then if you have questions, I'll defer to Brandon because he really did a great job putting all this together.
So on the back page, you got some high risks that are highlighted, are currently not billed. Does that mean we will be billing those, or?
We would like to. We currently do not bill the schools, but we do spend a lot of time in there doing those inspections, and we would like to bill them.
You got any other questions on the food?
Oh, I got the email and I didn't look at it real close yet, so I apologize. Still looking at them.
Think about that for a minute.
So,
Or you want to ask questions?
what are the fees at right now?
Right now, we charge $25. High, low, medium, temporary food, it's all $25.
Except for the ones in yellow, which we currently do not charge.
So when you say you spend quite a bit of time at the schools, what does that equate to? I mean, is that 2 or 3 times a year? Is it more?
Two times a year, and probably, typically, probably what, about average of 3 hours, at least round trip. And that's quite, depending on the size of the school, sometimes it's 2 of us, and if the smaller schools, it's just 1 person.
Tell you what, we're gonna have to recess for about an hour. We have a bomb threat. And so they wanna bring a dog in, so we're gonna have to evacuate. Yeah.
Where are we evacuating to?
Well, we're out of the building, because, well, that's where they have a jury. They were talking about taking them out, but I think that they're gonna bring in dogs. And then we'll,
Do I need to send an email?
I'm gonna start to stand back up to do the.
Of course, I'll wait more when I land.
okay, we won't go
Well, I
back.
started to get back up to do the pledge. Okay,
Okay.
so you were just about to say yes to all. I think you had some questions about the food fees
Right.
or food and.
Yeah, so we were talking about the food fees.
So we inspect the high and medium risk facilities every 6 months. Low risk facilities are annually. Oh, I think you guys were talking about the schools and how much time it really does just depend on the side of the school, how many cafeterias they have, things like that.
So low risk is annually,
Yes,
medium risk,
and high risk is 6 months.
both or what?
Yeah,
6
twice a year.
Both or what?
Every 6 months.
Oh. Biannually?
Mm-hmm.
Does biannually mean twice a year or every 2 years?
I don't know, that's why we wrote every 6 months.
Every 6 months,
Yes.
okay. Let's leave it at that then.
Where's Harry's place?
That's the
There's a place to go over in the Truman Building.
Truman Building,
Oh.
cafeteria.
Okay.
See, some of those that, so the ones that are highlighted in yellow
Okay.
are, right now, we had, or previously, they had not been, they didn't have a fee, but we are proposing to start charging those. A lot of those places, it's actually somebody else's, buys the opportunity to be a vendor there. And so it's kind of like, they're there to make money also.
And so, the city has their own owners, they do all the establishments in the city,
Mhm.
unless they're in a state building. That's why we do the Truman Building, Lincoln University, the Capitol, DHSS of Wildwood, so if it's a state.
Okay. I didn't know
Because
that.
of the participation.
I didn't know.
We just try to be really confusing.
What's the difference between high and medium risk? How do they,
It's usually the type of food that they serve and cook there.
so it's a different type of inspection or?
It's the same inspection, just more time consuming because there's usually more equipment, larger menu, and more people served.
Okay. So sometimes the size of it, the size of the menu.
So when you say the city does restaurants, and do they do schools in Jeff City then too?
They do.
They do.
Or do they charge a fee or?
They do.
Okay.
And their fees are on the front page. Their high risk fee is $505.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they do that twice a year?
Yes, every 6 months.
Yeah, but is that 505 per inspection, or is that,
That's
year.
their annual,
That's
their
their
yearly
annual.
fee.
Yeah, and that's what we're asking for too, so there is a clarification, that should be listed on each handout. It's a permit fee, so annual permit fee, not inspection fee.
So
That's what we're proposing.
per year,
Yes.
the fees per year.
Correct.
I assume if we pass this, then we would send out notification to everybody, just to let them know what to expect.
Right.
And they have been sent, all of our establishments have been sent a letter that this is something under review. review, we feel we need to take time to look at, changes could be coming.
Do you have any responses from them?
Actually, a lot of the in-person meetings, you know, we try to get familiar with everybody we're inspecting. A lot of them are saying, yeah, it's about time, you all are behind, so.
Well, I agree, we probably are behind. I just wanted to know for sure if we had given them any kind of notice and a chance to offer any feedback. And, you know, what if somebody says, well, we shouldn't be a high risk, we should be a medium risk? Do they have a say in that, or
Right,
do
so
they
if
already
they-
pretty much know that?
Yeah, if they perform well during their inspection, their risk category is re-evaluated every year.
Okay.
So if we have well-behaved folks, they could potentially drop down to a different risk level. Also, if we have some issues that are continuously coming up, they can be moved up to the higher level.
But most of the low risk are gonna be those gas stations that just have hot dog rollers and small things like that, right? I mean, most restaurants that prepare food from scratch are not gonna be a low risk facility. They're the prepackaged type, you know, things.
I mean, I'm good with the proposed fees.
I am too. I think we're still very reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the fees. And if you want to talk about the ones that aren't currently billed, I think we need to address that totally separate. So is that what you're saying, just the fees, or you want to address that today too?
I'd like to address it today, I mean, since they're here. I mean,
Okay.
so, obviously, if Jeff City Public Schools been charged $505 to inspect their cafeteria.
Their cafeteria inspection fee is different, and at the time of printing this up, the city had not gotten back to me with their recent fee yet. I do have that back at the office. I believe it's $100.
So is there cafeteria fees on top of the food inspection fee, or?
It's just a cafeteria fee for that facility. They also do daycares, which we're not interested in.
But do they have a permit fee also then, or no?
I would have to ask them to double check that.
Yeah, I don't, there's a lot of kids being fed at a lot of schools, and I mean, $150 is not really that much money in the whole scheme of things, or to even to charge the schools. And probably a lot of risk there with, I mean, you're feeding 300, 500, whatever, how many kids, I mean, and that's per school, so I don't see that as being out of line. I mean, so, just to take one for instance, so Pioneer Trail's not getting charged, but the rest of them are.
Right.
And they're being charged a whole lot more. For the same type of school, so I don't seem right.
No, I'm fine with them. I'm fine with moving on with it.
Okay.
So we're gonna,
You're wanting to build the schools and the ones that are highlighted, is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'll argue the same thing that you just said, that it's not that much money. So, it's really not that much money in the scheme of things, and we're actually providing a service to more or less protect our kids, so.
right,
I mean, I'd just soon not charge them, the schools for it, and just keep it the same, but change the fee. But if you two wanna charge everybody and, you know, it's consistent across for everybody, that's.
I just think it's fair, so, do we need to vote on this?
I'd say so.
Yeah, I'm fine with changing the fees, but I'd just leave the ones that we do not currently bill the same. So if you wanna do those two different motions, we can, or you can
Okay.
put it all in one.
We do that? I move that we accept the fee structure for food establishment permit fees.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I move that we charge all the highlighted food establishments and schools on this list that are currently not being charged.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
When do you want this?
I think she has one.
She's got
Yeah.
one. Oh,
Thank you,
sorry.
guys.
Okay, so then the second part was the onsite sewage fees. We're not done, sorry. Those fees haven't changed for some time. Our base permit fee is $200 for new construction or replacement. Repair is $50. We're wanting to increase the base fee to $300 and repair to $100. And then we would also like the ability to charge $50 an hour for when we have very complicated systems and we have to make more than 3 visits out to review the site location. We have some people that are like, I think I'll try to put this type of system in. Oh no, I think I'll try to do this. Oh no, I think I'll try, and it's many, many trips, many hours hand-holding with reviewing their plans, and especially when the homeowners wanna install their own system and they're not licensed installers, which under Missouri law they can do. But they still have to put in a system that meets requirements. So it takes a lot of time from our staff. So, and then we also had some incentives. So, you know, if they wanna put a tank in front of the lagoon, it helps the system. We would be willing to take some off the, you know, permit fee, give them discounts for things like that. So, I don't know if Mike or Braden have any more comments, or Joe, but.
Did you all contact Home Builders Association and let them know, kind of getting feedback from them and see? I mean, I think they'd be supportive of it. I think it's a fair cost for it. And when's the last time this was raised? On time in there, we got so
Yeah.
much
Before
time.
me.
2014, I think was the last, was before that, it was a time before, so around 2010, 2011.
We have had some, since last time, I mean, we have had some discussion with actual installers. You know, we've talked about it, but not a formal campaign to, you know, see an idea if they're okay with it or not. So,
Most home builders that I talk to, like whenever one of the construction general contractors called, they're surprised at how low our fee is compared to the other building permits and things like that, and the hookup fees for like city sewer, things like that. They're really surprised at what our permit fees are.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but I'd just like to run that by them instead of throwing it at them and going, oh, by the way, this just increased last month and you knew nothing about it, so maybe run this one by and.
You want to table it a month? All right,
Yeah, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, we can do that.
I just wanna
Okay.
run it
We
by
can
them.
reach out to them. I know they're probably kind of busy this week with the home show coming up this
Oh.
weekend, but we can still reach out to them.
We can get it to our legislative guy, Heath Clarkston, and he can get the information out
Okay.
and just make sure that there's not something in here that we're missing or whatever too. Cause I'd rather have them on board and know what's going on.
Yeah. Sure.
I agree, yeah.
But I don't disagree. I think it is
Okay, you
very
guys
low
you think
fee.
it's
Yeah, I
fair?
think the fees are in line. I mean,
Okay.
I don't see any opposition from home builders.
You like the incentives for the two? And that's kind of something new we were trying.
Kinda.
Okay.
Is there
I mean,
anything you want us to check on or
If they
look at
change
further?
before
or-
we send
yeah.
it to home builders?
Well, I mean, it sounds like more of your problems are with your homeowners trying to do some of this stuff and.
Sometimes,
mean-
and sometimes it's just
Sometimes
that
it's
don't-
installers trying to push the envelope.
Right.
And, well, if that'll work, how about this? And if that'll work, how about this? And then
Right.
we're reviewing 4 or 5 sets of plans and then you show up and they've changed their mind again. It's not so much with the engineered plans, it's the basic installers or even the advanced installers. And while rare, it does happen, and it is, as Christie said, it is very time consuming. Even just in plan review, you could end up having 3, 4, 5 hours. And
So I,
plan reviews and doing the math review and everything else, so.
I would think that they would need to, even a basic installation, I would think that they would need to submit a sketch.
They do, and then they wanna change.
Well,
and-
then I would tell them to start over. I mean, because if you're not gonna build it according to plan, you need to start the process over, and it needs to go.
And we've had some discussion about that. And again, this is fairly rare that it happens, but when it does, we want to have some ability to, get additional funding when we think it's necessary. And, basically a $50 per hour is probably gonna be about the same as what, I think it'd be less controversial, because then you already have it. And instead of, well, you already have my application in, I just making some, slight revisions. And so it's probably harder, I think it would be harder for us to force them to do a new application than it would be to say, well, we're charging you. Here's,
Right.
so.
A slight field revision I could deal with. That's, I mean, trying to redo it, I mean, that's a
yeah,
different ballgame.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like them to be able to look over it.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a whole lot in there to be too concerned about, but, I mean, it is government. And there's things in here like added only if necessary. Well, your definition of if necessary and mine are gonna be completely different. And if you're having to watch to make sure they do it right and you're charging me $50 an hour, we may have a difference of whether that was necessary and another trip and all that, so, yeah. Let's just take a look at it and we'll go from there.
You wanna table it 1 week, or you wanna wait 2 weeks because of the home show?
No, let's just get with home builders and see how long they wanna take a look at it and give me a
Okay.
couple weeks at least.
That's
Okay,
fine.
okay.
Sounds
Okay.
good, thank you.
All right, thank you. We skipped over the LAPTA stuff
Okay.
for the sheriff and the highway grant.
Okay.
I think we can handle it pretty quick.
Yeah,
maybe.
signing of the FY18 LEPTA Equipment Grant Award for Rapid ID.
Doesn't he go to the back of the line though, since he interrupted the meeting?
I didn't do it on purpose, as far as you know, Brad. Anyway. So, on this, you have to
You gonna give
sign
us a
this one.
copy? You can't
No,
sign it.
I don't have a copy for everybody.
Okay.
But you have to sign that.
Move
one,
on.
And then you have to initial all of those.
Oh.
Yeah. Here you go. So this
So-
is
so what
for
is this for?
$6,000 for 4 rapid IDs. It's a grant. Rapid IDs we can put in our vehicles, we can ID individuals out on the field. We already have some of these, and we've got some from last year from this grant.
Okay. Questions?
No.
Move that we approve and sign the fiscal year 18 LEPTA Equipment Grant Award for Rapid IDs.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Signing of the 2020-2021 DWI Highway Safety Grant application.
So this is the DWI saturation, so this is the Wolfpack. It's $9,500. The first one you have to sign, Sam, and then everyone has to sign the second page.
Okay.
Again, this is we sign this every year, but this is just a grant from Highway Safety for us to be able to perform extra.
It's just the application, right?
Yes, sir.
Move that we sign the 2021 DWI Highway Safety Grant application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Signing of the 2020-2021 HMV Highway Safety Grant application.
This is for HMV, hazardous moving violation, $6,200. It allows us to be able to go out and work different areas of the county for hazardous moving violations. Again, this is it's the same thing. You have to sign here, Sam, and then everybody has to sign that second one.
Okay.
Move that we sign the 2021 HMV Highway Safety Grant application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you for your cooperation earlier, too.
Yeah.
I don't think we had a choice, did we?
No.
Thanks for warning us.
That's the way to wake you up. We just wanted to make sure everybody's awake. Do we have any other unfinished business before we go into new business?
We're already in new business. Yeah.
Huh?
We were already in new business, so
Oh.
let's get back out.
Okay. Accounts payable review?
Already did that.
Oh.
We're
Second
at
final
public-
reading?
Public hearing of court order for four-way stop. That's where we're at.
Okay.
Yep, you were just
Okay. Public here,
Yeah, you stepped up.
Oh, that's right.
okay. Whatever
It's
you.
not
Public
It's
hearing
funny
for
then.
court order for four-way stop control at intersection of South Country Club Drive and Scruggs Station Road.
Oh.
In the interest of time, we'll try to go through this pretty quick. We had our Road and Bridge Advisory Committee, or not Road and Bridge, Traffic and Safety Advisory Committee meeting last Wednesday. Kind of a short time scheduled meeting due to an issue that we have encountered recently at the intersection of Scruggs Station Road and South Country Club Drive. And this would be the public hearing for that decision that was made at the meeting last week. It's a little slow, isn't it?
Yes.
We'll have to, okay. One thing to note is that this intersection is half in the city, half in the county. And David just happens to be here on the other item on the agenda, but he could attest to what the city's doing on their end of it. This is the current intersection. Scruggs Station is stopped, and South Country Club has the through. There was 2 requests that we know of. There may have been a few others, but one request came into the city. Councilwoman Weissman had a request. I believe the resident was actually in the county, but the request went to her. Their family had been in a serious accident at the intersection, and this person was requesting, actually mentioned a roundabout or a 4-way stop or flashing lights or something of that order. And then the second request was from a Missouri State Highway Patrol trooper that had worked multiple accidents there recently, and that request came into Larry Benz. Original configuration of this prior to 2005, maybe a little bit newer than way back when, but South Country Club was not the through. It turned to Fairgrounds Road, and so you didn't have near the traffic that you're seeing today at that intersection. And in 2005, the improvements were made. City and county both did projects on South Country Club. The city's project was to connect it to where the through stayed on South Country Club all the way into town near the newer gas station at Edgewood Drive, or West Edgewood. In 2009, we were seeing some issues with accidents, and we had a request come into the Traffic and Safety Advisory Board in 2009 requesting flashing yellow lights be placed here. At that time, the board chose not to do that, but to place some additional signing notifying motorists of what's coming on South Country Club, and then a sign below the stop sign on Scruggs Station saying cross traffic does not stop. We also made some striping changes, moved stop bars up, put a crosswalk in to tie in the sidewalks. And those stayed there until, just like they are, until recently we started seeing a lot more problems, more so in 2019, and several accidents actually in December. And that prompted the new review of the intersection. Just a few pictures showing the intersection as you're approaching it, going south on South Country Club. And then the next picture is heading north on South Country Club. And it's a pretty straight through road. And then I won't get into the specifics on the traffic data, but there's quite a bit of traffic at this intersection, especially coming from the west on South Scruggs Station Road, making a left turn on the South Country Club. Again, another picture of the current intersection, and then more pictures, and these will be on Scruggs at the different directions looking, in this case, looking to the north. And as you're making a left turn out of here, and you can see on the picture there's a bus shelter there at a bus stop. A little bit of an issue, side distance issue there, but typically what traffic will do, they'll pull up a little bit before they make the turn, and you can see fine as you're pulling up. The next picture shows looking south at the intersection, same direction, and there's some issues there with sight distance over the crest of the vertical curve, and then there's a power pole that kind of conflicts the view as well. Next picture is, like the other one, pulling up a little bit, you can see fine. Next picture will be heading westbound on Scruggs at the intersection and looking south. Again, the same sight distance, just from the other direction. It's a sight distance issue. Next picture is looking north, heading back into town. And
it's okay here, but there is that sign that can conflict the view a little bit, but it's not too bad. I put on the desk there, a copy of the draft report done by Tia Griffin at City of Jefferson staff, and she went into the more detail about it. I won't get into too much on that, but when looking at intersections for stop control or different signing, we look at a manual called the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, kind of a national standard. They go through a bunch of different things. They give guidance on when to do things as far as signing goes, and several different criteria on a four-way stop. And she found that it meets the guideline or the guidelines from the MUTCD to make this a four-way stop. Here's the accident data going back to 2010, and you can see in 19 we had a real spike, and actually I think that number is low. Morgan Patterson, who serves on our Traffic and Safety Advisory Board, who is a state trooper, he did a little research on the accidents in advance of the meeting, and he thinks there was actually 9 last year. So we made a recommendation to the board, they accepted it, and their recommendation to the county commission would be to concur with city and county staff and make this a four-way stop control. They also agreed that measures should be taken to phase in the change by notifying the public through media and placing changeable message boards and temporary rumble strips in advance of the intersection for a set time period after installation. Also, in addition to that recommendation, the staff recommendation, they would ask that the city consider relocating the bus shelter further from the roadway. And this is what the proposed intersection would look like. We would add the 2 stop signs on South Country Club and put 4-way, it'll come here in a second, put a 4-way placard underneath stop signs. And then if you remember the signing in advance on South Country Club, the intersection ahead signing, replace that with a stop ahead. Taking a delay. So, and it's on your packet there too. And so we would need from the county commission a motion to either accept, modify, or deny the Traffic and Safety Advisory Board recommendation, and I would make that contingent on city approval. And normally when we would do a court order with these, I would recommend that we wait on that. Let's let the city's Traffic and Transportation Committee approve it as well before we get too far ahead. I would not want to have us have a court order approving a stop sign and then the city not. So let's table that part of it until we know for sure that this will happen on there. And we are stuck, aren't we? So, Chris, you had mentioned last week when we were talking about possibly soliciting some public comment on this. Do we want to consider that? And maybe ask David, when you get into issues like this, is there more of a public comment period?
Not necessarily so. I mean, certainly the Traffic and Transportation Commission meeting is a public meeting. Folks are welcome to attend that. But, certainly I think, if the four-way stop were to be implemented, certainly advance notice, some changeable message boards, as Eric indicated, just to make sure that everyone has enough warning that the controlled intersection is changing. We hate for people to not realize the stop sign's there and the folks on the scrubs think that it is. So
That's gonna be people like me.
Yeah.
Cause I'm gonna be driving through there, I don't hit that road as much, and all of a sudden,
right.
so how long is the temporary rumble strips gonna be? Is that something that, what's gonna hurt leaving them down?
Generally, you don't want, during snow or winter season, they would get taken out by the plow, so you wouldn't want to have them up during that time period. A couple months, possibly. The only problem with that is it makes quite a bit of noise, and residents will start to complain about hearing noise all the time. We do have rumble strips in advance of some stop signs on county roads.
Yeah, I can
A
understand.
few locations, not a
I
bunch.
wouldn't want them in front of my house either, so.
There's not a.
But I'm just saying that's gonna it's gonna take a while to get that habit formed, because just used to driving through there. But, yeah, I had questions about it. You took care of them on the emails, and, I'm fine with accepting their proposal. I still don't understand why there's so many wrecks there, but it's statistics, so.
I didn't get too much into the actual traffic counts, but there's more traffic actually on licensed drug station now there is on South Country Club, which is unusual. There's just a lot of traffic coming from the west heading into town.
When I think it was rush hour, y'all put it like.
That other reason is a lot of people are
Yeah,
distracted.
yeah.
It's worse and worse every day, so.
So how's the stop sign gonna help that? Now they're gonna drive right through the stop sign and T-bone them.
Well,
They're just gonna make them feel safe pulling out there.
I
So,
understand what you're saying, Jeff, and.
I already said I'm gonna accept it,
Yeah.
Eric. Run.
I gotta stay here for the next time, it's like, it's something we are concerned about, and we'll do everything we can
Yeah.
to get people accustomed to doing that.
Okay.
It's,
Yeah, your emails cleared it all up and.
So what did we need to do then? We needed to
well,
accept the,
At this point,
accept the recommendation of the.
Accept the recommendation, yeah.
Pending approval by the city.
Contingent upon the city approving it, and then we
Yeah.
can do the court order.
Yeah, we'll do the court order when we get confirmation that they're moving forward on their process, which their meeting will be.
We got
in
David
March.
here.
Right, so our process on our end is we would take it to our Transportation and Traffic Commission, and, of course, they're a recommending body, and I suppose if they would recommend that to the council, and it would go to the council for 2 readings, at which point it would become part of the code, and the stop sign would be installed from our point of view. So, that would probably be, the first meeting in April would be the soonest that would be in place on our end.
And you'll get feedback. I was on transportation traffic for 9 years. You get feedback. If people aren't in favor of it, they'll be there. But I don't foresee, you know,
Nobody likes change, I'm sure.
no, but
I mean, I think Eric did allude to, I mean, one thing that is very interesting with this intersection is actually the leg coming out of Westview Heights, which has the stop sign, is actually technically the major leg in terms of traffic volumes, so, that's, so in some ways, the largest percentage of users already are stopping.
Similar to like South Country Club and Zion Road there, where we made, yeah, you know, that's kind of an odd intersection, but we made the thorough leg based on the traffic flow. So, kind of a odd deal, but can't hardly do that that was just a T intersection.
No, the traffic counts are fairly distributed. I mean, not so much on the east and south, but not too bad as far as where everybody's coming from. And a 4-way stop does work good here. It's kind of an interim measure before you get to like a signal or a roundabout, which we're not anywhere close to that. Wouldn't recommend that right now. So, and it's a safer, obviously a lot safer than what we got now with people going through there. And it's hard to explain why it's happening, but it is an issue that's happening, and if we have ways to address it, and if it's warranted to do the METCD through what we checked, then it's something we really need to consider.
You get long stretches of road like that too, and people tend to go a little faster than what they should, so. I move that we accept the recommendation from the Traffic and Safety Advisory Committee and send it to the City of Jefferson.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Clark Avenue roadway improvements project funding discussion.
So, went to the city's Public Works and Planning Committee last week after the commission's decision to allot a certain amount of money to go towards the project, which was a little over 1.1 million, I believe. And so, the city has agreed to accept that amount, and they will put in a little bit more to get the necessary funding to match what MoDOT's providing. And so David's here really maybe just to go through it and just, we were gonna come and present the agreement, but after talking with Jill and Kristen, it would commit us to money into next year, and there's some wording we'll have to do to make sure that's right, which we just don't have ready right now. So just an opportunity to let you know where things are at, and when that agreement's ready to go, I don't think David needs to come up unless you have specific questions about the project, and I'll just present it and we'll get it done and move on, so.
Okay. That's good.
Any questions about it? It's,
No, and you said you're gonna put you got 3 roundabout statue of
We've got 3 roundabouts, we've got 3
Brad and
commissioners.
myself and Chris.
We're done.
And
We got
each
it.
one.
It's just
I'm gonna give him a new name tag.
So you have to decide, you guys are east
I
and
don't like
west,
you
and we really have north and south, so you have to kind of decide which one's
Yeah.
which, but.
put Jeff on the Dunklin one.
So.
Brad.
Yeah, there you
Brad.
go. So did you, I guess you all got the letter from IC then,
Yes.
they've got some requests and stuff too, so is that gonna add to the project or change it?
Not necessarily. I mean, I
That's
think
something on our end.
one of the questions I think they brought up was, can we make the concrete the color of something, which might be harder than other parts of that, but certainly, if they're intending to want to adopt the island, it is going to be, that is still mowed out right away, and so we probably have an example of what that might look like out there on the east end by the Walmart.
So that's where I was gonna go with it, is if this is something that they wanna do and they can work out a deal with them, that would kinda be on them. And if they wanna do it maybe with a group like Eastside Business Association.
Right, I think there's a lot of opportunities, typically what we've done in other roundabouts, we have supplied conduits from outside the roundabout to the center island.
Yeah.
And so folks have fed electric and or water, in through those conduits, to do whatever it is they want to do in the middle. And so the majority of our roundabouts, someone has adopted the center and is, taking care of it, whether that be down at Lincoln University or by, Stadium in Jefferson. We don't necessarily plan that from the get-go, apart from, providing the possibility for.
Dunklin would be the only one that the city still owned, right? Clark Dunklin, that roundabout.
Right, so
The
the
other
city's.
two would be MoDOT.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Because I think we can pass that on too and see if there's any interest on the east side.
Yeah, certainly folks could get a permissive use of right-of-way and do whatever it is that they want to do in the middle, provided that we ensure that the site distance remains what we need it to be around those roundabouts.
Very good.
Well, that's our parish, so we have to do that. Father Don said something about eternal damnation, so I think Jeff's already there, so. Or Brad.
Wow.
If we want to.
Father Medina was at our deal last Saturday. I went to confession twice.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't
Was
put
that
those money
enough?
until.
But yeah, I think the exciting thing that from the letter from IC was, the fact that they've indicated that they would be willing to work with us in terms of right-of-way.
Yeah.
That's very exciting, because that is can sometimes be a big step, in projects like this. So certainly very happy to see that. And I think some of the other, I don't exactly remember everything that was in the letter, but those are the two things that stuck in my head.
I guess since my church didn't do anything at the roundabout at Stadium Jefferson, I'm going to hell too, so. I'd say if Sam needs money, he's pretty much out of luck.
Here's a copy of their letter. Yeah, you're Lutheran.
Yeah, well, we're tight. Of course, we wouldn't ask the county for money,
That's why-
because I'd have told them no.
Donate to the Catholics and the Lutherans. Be good at both of them.
Yeah, so looking at they talked about parking on Miller Street. Again, that's something that we can work through in the design. I don't know exactly. Some of that will probably change to some degree, just because of the need to get the proper approach into the roundabout. But we can preserve that to the greatest extent that we can. Install utilities underground. That's something that's a little bit outside of our ability to influence. Certainly we make a request, but again, the utilities are all private entities that have the right to be in the right of way, and we don't necessarily have the ability to tell them how they should have those facilities there. So, and that would be a tough one to try. I mean, it's the majority of that is telecommunication lines. I think are the ones that are the most visually distracting. They're huge cables with junction structures and everything in the air.
But we'll see what happens. I mean, certainly all that stuff's gonna have to get redone. Those poles are gonna have to be moved. So maybe in that moving, maybe it becomes more feasible to put that in the ground. I know that, for instance, CenturyLink, when we built the roundabout at Stadium in Jefferson, they were aerial and they did go in the ground just because it was easier for them. So certainly the possibility, but we don't have the ability to dictate what happens. But we certainly will work with them to try to make
Well,
that happen.
I have my statue there. I want to light it at night.
Well, we'll put a conduit out there, and
Yeah.
we can run some electric so we can have. You want that up light or down light? You know,
Uh,
I don't know.
Of course, that's also Eric's.
Maybe-
so
maybe-
it might be a
Maybe
might be a
internal
statue of
glowing or
Eric.
something. An ethereal glow, a halo, something we could do.
If these are memorial statues, I don't need one. Just saying. You don't get a statue until you're gone. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of the agreement, I mean, ultimately what we're working with MoDOT, and so we're assuming hopefully by the end of the week that we'll have an agreement from MoDOT that we can then present to our council. We're also working with Bartlett and West to get a scope and fee to expand the design to the two roundabouts. And then ultimately, you know, the agreement with you all. So we're kind of working all three of those things at the same time. You know, because ultimately the timeline that we've sort of established for this and to spend the grant money is relatively compressed. You know, we can, you know, we'll need to continue to move forward in order to hit those deadlines. So.
Okay.
You want to give a quick update on Dunklin, although I know nothing's happening, but.
Well, we had a meeting with Don Schneiders, it was probably 2 weeks ago, and we're beginning to discuss, you know, what is their time for starting again. And so they had indicated that they would intend to start probably the first week of March, so basically 2 weeks from now. And what that would look like is an immediate shutdown of Dunklin Street and the removal of the bridge would be the first order of business. They need to get in underneath the bridge and make a repair to our 30-inch sewer main that's in there. So they'll tear the bridge down, repair the sewer, and then start the reconstruction of the bridge. You know, at the same time, we're anticipating them to come back and begin doing the curb and gutter work, drive approaches on the northern side of the road, kind of work their way up, and kind of the pavement then would still be there, you know, to access for the local businesses. Get that done and then move over to the western side. So we're looking at a new completion date of June the 15th for that project. And so, yeah, it'll be back underway in about 2 weeks.
Yeah. Where they're talking flooding, we
Right.
Yeah, the way they're talking
Right.
flooding.
Fortunately, if we can get in there soon and get the sewer fixed, essentially we have just 3 short sections of stormwater pipe to put in. There's a pipe that crosses on one pipe on both ends of the bridge, which are the ones that are probably of concern, and then there's another pipe crossing up by Mulberry. And so apart from those 3 crossings, all the pipe is in the ground. So that's a benefit moving forward, especially if the water's going to come up. And we get those in, then, you know, certainly driving the pile, placing the riprap, you know, we can still work with that if the river comes up some. But, you know, certainly we're in a much better position than we were last year, so. But that's kind of the update on that. And I know certainly the East High Street project, they're out there working on that, working on the sewer lines to start. I believe that the retaining walls are probably going to start happening in the next week or so, basically kind of working from the western end towards the eastern end of the project. So yeah, we're really happy. Aplex seems to be anxious and eager to work on that, so I think they'll move ahead.
Are they still on schedule to do, basically have it ready for overlay and everything by the time school starts 2020, and then completely done by 2020? I know we had a question at the...
Right, so essentially, we are hoping to be through the area of the school by the time school would start again in the fall, Riverside. And then kind of work to the east of the school after school starts. We'll have to see if that, I mean, that's
kind of what the goal is.
Right.
Still
right.
on.
But still, yeah, so the whole project would be complete sometime in November.
What we need to do is have you come back every 2-3 months, really, and kind of give us an update on projects. I think that way, you know, we're
Yeah, I mean,
partners.
Yeah, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be, I mean, certainly you know, I think folks, again, it's gonna be painful when we close Dunklin again. You know, there are a lot of folks that use that. So certainly, I'm sure there'll be some conversations about our anxious people to see that back open again. And then, you know, certainly the East High Street project will be going on all year, so. And then certainly, you know, the design and right-of-way purchases and whatever that start happening with the Clark project too. So there's a lot going on this year.
Yeah. Anything else?
No.
Do we need to?
We need to go back and talk about that EMS stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Done with it.
Right, and you guys, so you'll be working with Jill and figuring out how that language can read for the, yeah.
Okay, once that is done, I'll bring it to them, get approved, send it to y'all.
Right.
Help.
All right, well, very good, thank you all.
Thanks,
Thanks,
David.
David.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Sorry about the interruption.
Well, it was curious.
Everybody was looking kind of sleepy, so.
A lot of little cool air would be with.
It's a slow news day.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Okay, so we had approved
So we gotta go back to the FTEP thing.
FTEP, yeah.
So we got put on the agenda as the sole source, but it should have been the awarding of the contract, right?
Yes.
Is that right or not? Or both?
Because
No, we did the sole source thing a couple weeks ago, I thought.
you approved to run it, and
Yeah.
then she brought it back today saying it was run. So then it was awarded, but if you have a contract for them, then you can do both of those today.
Okay, well, let me just-
Okay, so we approved the sole source advertisement. We already did that, right?
Yes,
We approved to run it. Do we have to approve?
yes, and you already did earlier.
Right.
So it's the signing of the sole source.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
not just approving the advertising.
This is a contract
That
or
was already
something.
done.
This says signing of the FTEP sole source, and that is,
We did that earlier.
And now he has a contract.
we did this 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, this was January 24th is what this stated.
So what we just did earlier was the same thing we did.
Was basically
January
awarding it.
24th.
No, January 24th, we were asking permission to run the sole source.
The attachment that's attached to this agenda item is the request to run the form, or to run the sole source. Was the request for sole source.
Okay, well, maybe
So
I'm got it
this,
mixed up.
this should be totally different from that. Should be old business, but
You have a copy of yours.
Yeah, I think this is,
Oh, yeah.
but you're saying there's 2 things that we do after we get the sole source request form. We approve that, which we did January 24th. And then now we should have a contract and whatever else.
it says,
I don't know, it seemed kind of
Letter of
redundant that we have
agreement.
to approve it twice, but is that pretty typical?
Well,
I would think not, because that was the request to run the sole source and advertise for it.
but this was already run then, and that's why we're coming back saying it was run, nobody came forward and
And
wanted to bid
contested
on
it.
it. So it's basically awarding it to this company then. And then that's what you did this morning, you awarded this, and now if you wanna sign a contract for that particular vendor, then that's fine. Sometimes we put it on there as 2 different items on the agenda, which to me, it should be 2 different items, you know, signing and awarding. Should be
Just
2
because you like to confuse me.
Sorry. I didn't know you were ready to.
Well, we've
Always.
done awards and we've done contracts, I understand that.
Mhm.
But here we're also validating that we did the sole source. That's what this was. And now we're gonna sign the contract.
Yes.
An
Okay.
agreement, yeah.
Clear as mud now. Thank you.
okay.
Sorry, Deb.
Sorry.
I'm not trying to be
Maybe we
difficult.
should get 2 different forms.
I just didn't understand what we had going here. So, perfect, thank you.
Don't talk so much.
Get me out of here.
Gotta lose his voice. It's rubbing off.
All right, I move that we sign the agreement with National EMS Management Association's EMS FTEP program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Do we have any other issues to come before us?
Did you get that invoice from the Bicentennial Committee from Mark?
No, I seen him give you guys something.
Well, I've got the agreement, but I don't know. I don't think I have the invoice anywhere. Do you have that somewhere there, Sam?
There's the agreement.
Yeah, I heard you
Yes.
say somebody.
Yes. Yes.
Here's the signed agreement.
Yeah, there it is, Debbie.
Oh, there's Tom. Thank you. Yep.
So this accounts payable review, there's just 7 of them out there, or?
No, it should be all the P cards should be out there. You may have already approved them the last time, but there are quite a few out there. I'll have to go back to mine, but you may have already approved. But I probably had more than 7 this morning. They're all dated for last Friday, 14th, or
Yeah.
last Friday.
I'm gonna approve these 7, and then,
Then I'll go look, yeah, the 14th. I'll go look real quick.
One side.
all right, anything else?
Anything else?
Maybe we stand in recess till 4:30.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.